Alright, finally doing a 140 difficulty Elysian Realm video with Imayoh Flamescion, bringing the Mad King's Mask for increased chances of getting Kalpas's Signets, Valkyrie Chariot and Azure Imperial for the starting supports, and Siren for the elf. If you don't have all the other elves, just always bring Jingwei's Wings as a default. Elves are not too huge of an effect on the runs, but, they do help a little bit. For essential buffs, you want Reburn and Tempered Warrior in that specific order. So normally you restart the entire thing, but we did get an Elysian buff on the second stage, so we can still push forward and hope to get Reburn. And if we don't get Reburn in this stage, I'm gonna hope for an Elysian Signet on the third one. Reburn is the one that removes your overheat when you do an ultimate evasion. Because you don't have an entire team to switch out and do a rotation, Flamescion's normal playstyle is not very ideal for the Elysian Realm, or rather just not ideal for her as a solo character. So you do need to remove the overheat because when you're not in Imayoh form, your damage falls off pretty badly as you can see, and you have to do a ground basic attack sequence to try to get your overheat gauge down. So the first two stages, which I mean 2 and 3, 4, 2 and 3, are not too hard, even without buffs. So we don't have it. I'm gonna go for Heat Flow instead of Flamescion. Usually you want to go for Flamescion, but I think Heat Flow might give me a bit more damage, and oh, that's really lucky. Okay, so you want more damage at the start. Normally if you get like Kalpas or Fuhua, just go for the total damage one that they give you, and try to go for Elemental Breach if you have Fuhua. Otherwise, if you're playing with Elysian buffs like I am doing, it's a bit of a gamble, and normally the advice would be to restart at the start and try to get Reburn. But we're already here, and we're presented with 3 out of 5 Elysia buffs every time we get an Elysia Signet, and with 2 out of 5 out of the way, the buff that we need will definitely be in the remaining 3, which will all be presented to us once we clear this stage. How hard you push for Elysia buffs depends on the battlesuit that you're using. For Flamescion, you essentially only need Reburn and Tempered Warrior. Anything beyond those two is just a bonus. And after that, you want to be pushing your damage as high as possible. You want to go for Kalpas because Kalpas easy activation along with Yae Sakura and Fuhua. So Kalpas always first because you're losing HP all the time. And then next one should actually be Fuhua and then Yae Sakura. So we get a bonus stage at 4, 7, and 12. I'm going to try to get the bonus, but don't try too hard because sometimes I think it's kind of RNG on what kind of enemy waves you get. And, early on you might not have the buffs to push you forward to actually get that bonus. I'm kind of surprised that I'm doing as well as I am right now because I have more utility than damage, but sometimes utility just allows you to get the damage dealing hits out faster, and that also gives you that DPS that you need. But I have had early high utility with not very good results, so Flamescion definitely has the damage to back her up. With this bonus, essentially you want to go for increases your total damage with your HP loss, and increases the total damage enemies take when you lose HP. You could also go for the physical and elemental damage one, but it's these 3, naturally, that you want to go for at the start. I don't usually go for decreased incoming total damage, but you could also go for those if you're afraid of getting one-shotted at the later stages. So you're going to go for total damage, and the next one we're going for it will be, yes, total damage taken by enemies. Very, very good. Alright, we're gonna do a tactic I've adopted recently, which is go to the shop and upgrade your damage dealing signets early. Incidentally, I did not need the other 2 signets, so it was a very easy choice. I'm gonna switch Valkyrie Chariot out for Blood Rose, so I get that increased damage. This works because Flamescion has a huge area of effect with her attacks, and I do also have Azure Imperial if I do need to gather. We're also switching the item that we can bring into Resolve, so that we can get upgraded Fuhua buffs when we get them. So we're gonna go full on upgrade for the total damage per 100 HP loss, and we're also gonna upgrade. Very nice! 0 coins left, very good. And the next Kalpas buff will also get us his Nexus Signet, which is going to give us more damage output every time we keep charging it up. Then we'll probably go for Kalpas if he still comes out, but I might want to go for Yae Sakura and get that extra charge of ultimate evasion so I can keep doing combo attacks very frequently, which would increase my damage output by a lot. So as you can see here, she's melting this stage like butter because we got those early upgrades on our total damage output. I'm finishing off with an ulti even though the stage is done because it stops the HP loss and it also heals you if you're below 40% HP. Just having some insurance on the next stage. Alright, so we kind of got lucky with Kalpas's buffs. Now we have all the damage options and his Nexus Signet. And between the two here, we're going for Yae Sakura, no brainer. Kevin doesn't really work too well with the Herrscher Flamescion because of the cooldown on her ulti and the SP cost that will take you a while to get to. I think I got stunned. Alright, yeah, so if you're thinking about what buffs to bring for what battlesuit, just think about how their abilities complement the activation conditions. For Kevin, you want to go for him when you're like on Imayoh Ritual. You could kind of go for him on, say, the Herrscher Thunder if you really have to, but that's like in a scenario where you're kind of like later in the stage and you don't have, I mean on like a later floor and you don't have rerolls left and you're like, okay, maybe the other option isn't as good, so you go with Kevin, which would kind of help you out. It's not the best, but you know, Kevin generally is kind of okay. Alright, let's see what we get here. We want to go for the extra charge. We don't have it. I'm going to take the SP one. We're going to be doing a lot of ultimate evasions and hope. Yep, it's here. Alright. So we are going to be building her up later anyway. Just stack all the damage buffs that you can. And on that note, we're going for Fuha's buffs and see if we can get Elemental Breach, Elemental Damage, and Total Damage. Having those early are also pretty good because like you get different types of total damage buffs. I mean different conditions, but total damage from different sources, and it still works pretty well. Like pretty much the same logic of me going for the upgrade, the early upgrade on Kalpas's buff. So yeah, my damage on Banera is not bad for difficulty 140 stage. And this is also the reason why I brought Blood Rose, because you do want that extra damage buff to push you forward. Blood Rose gives you total damage increase. And because it does consume HP as a price, but if you do default to Jingwei's Wings, or even Siren, you do get healing from your elf. And for the Herrscher Flamescion, well, losing HP is nothing new to her. So do an ulti, you get a bit of HP back, and you also do have a shield to protect you. The bad thing about being in version 5.0 right now is that we don't have that shield gauge, so we don't really know how much of a shield we have left. As such, that's also one of the reasons why Fuha's Nexus Signet is going to be so useful, because it can take hits for you. But aside from that, the reasoning I got for getting Fuha as one of the mainstays is also because her buffs have the highest stacks. So when you do a longer fight, you actually get more damage out of Fuha than you would get out of anyone else. That's the main reason that you're going for her, especially on the Herrscher Flamescion, because you're usually airborne. You don't take hits very often, but if you do, the stacks from the Nexus Signet will actually block damage for you, which in turn will also protect your stacks. So it's pretty good actually, just on anyone in general, but you know, on Flamescion it's kind of essential. Alright, well, we didn't have any of the damage options, but taking a damage taken decrease is also not too bad. On higher difficulties, you do stand a chance to get one-shotted. And especially with Flamescion, where on the earlier floors you don't really take notice of this too much because your shield is tanking it for you, and before version 5.1 you can't see how much of a shield you have left, so you don't really feel the impact until you get one-shotted, essentially, because you don't really see any kind of HP drop, and it doesn't alarm you as a user. So yeah, ending with the ulti again, and getting more Fuha Signets. Now we have Elemental Breach, and that is good. And we go for... I guess we reroll. Let's see what comes out. Okay, if we don't get any good rerolls, I'm just gonna go straight into the shop. So, well, we're far enough. I have enough Elysia buffs, and Kalpa's is built up pretty well. So yeah, let's go into the shop. I don't think I'm gonna be needing the rerolls. But try not to use the rerolls too much. If you do fall into the same situation as I did, then probably you can do the same, but usually you can just pick out something like, I could have gone for Kevin earlier and hope for a damage buff, but I did have going to the shop in mind already. So I just, tried my luck, didn't get it, and now here we are upgrading all our damage output buffs again. And that's good. Oh, Alicia. Nice. Okay. I'll take it, why not? So I just want to mention, Eden is actually also pretty okay for the Hesha Flame Scion. The 30 difficulty, the buff, or rather the debuff that adds 30 difficulty to the rail mode, prevents you from charging SP from your basic attacks. So you need a lot of external sources. Eden has SP over time, Kalpas has SP in relation to how much HP you're losing, and I did get the Yae Sakura one that gives me 12 SP per ultimate evasion. So essentially, after you have stacked up your SP gaining signets from the other sources, you can actually run Eden due to the cooldown on your ulti. So as you can see, you will have some SP stacked up, and in that time you will be having Eden's buffs active. I try not to prioritize it because you have a limited amount of slots for signets, and that's why you have to be kind of precise. It's a time challenge bonus, so we have all 5 Alicia buffs on Flamescion. How about that? Okay, and now we go for Yae Sakura. So we went for SP and the additional charge, so we haven't gotten any damage signets from Yae Sakura yet. That's why we're here to finish it off and get the Nexus Signet. Also, as you can see, I'm stacking a crap ton of combo attacks, which is also spawning a lot of black holes because of the other Alicia Signets. And you can do that because when you do an ultimate evasion, thanks to Tempered Warrior, you lose 9 seconds off cooldown from your ultimate evasion. So doing 2 combo attacks essentially gives you 1 stack back. And because the additional charge also lowers the cooldown by 10 seconds, so that's not too much. I think it's like 1.8 seconds or something like that. You essentially can do a good number of combo attacks, but be sure to have 1 stack ready when you go into overheat. So you want to keep it within the 11-second time frame, and if you know you can't squeeze any more in, do not do any more ultimate evasions, because if you remove the bar but don't do a combo attack in time, when the Hesha mode duration ends, it automatically goes into overheat, and you then lose 1 stack. I mean, you waste 1 stack, essentially. So you could end up with an ulti just to be sure, like, okay, I've done like 3 to 4, and you don't want to wait for the overheat anymore because you're not in time. Just do like 3 to 4 combo attacks, do an ulti, and then have 1 stack to reset. That's the way I go about doing it, and it dishes out so much damage that we don't even have to force Heimdall into that unshielded mode, despite being in 140 difficulty on rail. And there we go, with a minute and 18 seconds left on the clock. So we're going to go for, alright, total damage boost, and we get the Nexus Signet. Her Nexus Signet is really useful not just for the damage option, but also it kind of freezes enemies. Not really technically freeze, but it stops them. And that gives you some reprieve, because in the later stages, they actually slap pretty hard. And I reiterate, because you have the shield, sometimes you don't notice it until it's too late. Also, just to note, I did not go into the shop because 13th floor is the last floor that you get access to the shop. So since the Yae Sakura buff showed itself, we come in and get more of those because, there's damage options that we still don't have. And if they really don't present themselves, we can still go for the total damage taken decrease. So it's not too bad an option. So one other thing to note, I did not initially go for signets which I already got Nexus Signets of, because I thought like the Nexus Signet was kind of the end game for each signet, but there are actually enhanced ones that upgrade the Nexus Signet's effects. One of the good examples is Fuhua's, which gives you additional stacks, because her stacks are time-based. So starting with stacks and like increasing the cap of the stacks, those are really good. And that's what makes her one of the prime buffs that you can get. So we're going to go into the shop because this is the last time we can access it, so we want to spend all the coins that we have. And wow. Oh, Mobius. Alright, we'll buy those if we don't have any more stuff to upgrade. Just go for the damage options, mostly. So we're gonna go for everything that gives you damage, and it's easily triggered. Essentially, we are doing a lot of ultimate evasions anyway, so those are all easily triggered. And I guess we go for Mobius increasing damage buff, which we probably won't use as much as if you went ham on Mobius, because we don't have all those cooldown reductions and stuff, but we do have to spend all the coins because this is the last time we'll be here in the shop anyway. And yeah, alright, Mobius and Kalpas. No brainer, we go for Kalpas because that's, you know, we can still upgrade his next Signet, and we are on the last stage that gives you a buff. So once you do Husk, and if you complete Husk and go into Elysia stage, you still don't get an extra Signet moving into that last stage. One thing to note also, if you clear up to Husk and you fail at Elysia, it's fine because you still get the clearing achievement. And yeah, that's one thing to note. So all you need to do is get until Husk, right? If you fail Elysia, it's okay, it's just a round that's for fun. Clearing it, of course, you know, there's that sense of achievement rather than an actual achievement, because the actual achievement is already obtained before getting to her. Alright, so I think we're doing good on time. Did not want to do a ground combo attack, but I apparently touched the ground. Okay. Yeah, if this is the last wave, we should be good. Alright, this is the last wave. Nice. Cool, getting a Kalpas bonus buff even at this time. That's not too bad. Okay. Alright, Kalpas. Yeah. We know you're edgy. Okay. See, that's what I mean, right? It increases the effects of your Nexus Signet. 2 of them. Very good. And now we go on to Husk. So Husk, you gotta be really careful because he can taint you, which will stop all your healing. So Flamescion won't be able to heal. I don't know if it affects the HP on your shield. I don't think it does, but that's just one thing to note. Not being able to heal it back up, and plus the fact that he does a crap ton of damage to you, you want to be really careful of not getting hit too many times. In this situation with Flamescion, you just have to go as ham as you can, and hope that the sickness that you chose can back you up to do this kind of playstyle, because there isn't really much you can do to evade stuff. You are kind of put at a disadvantage with how her kit works of using your ultimate evasion to clear your overheat. If you do too many evasions just to try to get away from the enemy, you essentially waste your stacks, and that's not something you want to do. So you have to just go really ham, and that's pretty unfortunate because Husk does do some dangerous moves, and you really want to get out of the way sometimes. But like I said, you know, you have to make sure your Signets can back you up on your playstyle and just go as ham as you can. Despite having 35 HP, I'm just going in like crazy and trusting that my shield is going to stand up for me, and hoping that after the taint, I can just use an ulti to actually get my HP back. And maybe feel a little bit safer knowing my HP bar actually has a little bit of HP in it. So, we'll see. If your taint hasn't ended and you do an ulti, okay. If it hasn't ended and you do an ulti, you won't get that HP back. So, yeah, we're still gonna commit to going ham. He does only have 4 bars of HP left, so we're gonna try to reduce that to 0. You do want to have like 20 seconds left because he's gonna do that clock phase. Thankfully, if you do have the Domain of Incandescence, you can just throw and use the weapon active to clear those gears as soon as they pop out. So I'm kind of scared looking at my HP, but we're done with this phase, so. Alright, let's see if we can get some HP back. No. Oh, okay, we got it. Okay. So you just want to keep running into it. As you can see, he's wasting a lot of time here. And just want to throw the weapon active skill out. That will break everything super fast. And, unfortunately, I do not have SP to regain some HP. So we're gonna have to go into Elysia's stage with, like, 46, 45 HP. Alright. They'll start you off with some SP, so you can at least cast an ultimate early. Alright, let's just go ham. Let's go as ham as we can. Once we get the overheat down, combo attack, evade, combo attack, evade, combo attack, evade. And then ulti. Nice. So that gives me a little bit of HP back in case the shield does not hold up on some attack. At least I have some HP to tank for me, even though being in Hasha mode kind of is burning it on its own. Alright. So we've got a pretty good pace for Alicia. You want to watch out for the tower that she spawns. That is something that you would kind of want to try to destroy early. I've not really experienced what it does leaving it on the field for too long. But also, I've only ever cleared the Alicia stage on the Hesha of Thunder on my Chinese account and the Hesha of Flamescion here on my main account. I have not unlocked the Hesha of Thunder here on my main because I've been unlocking all the A ranks. Oh my god, what happened to her? Anyway, I've been unlocking all the A ranks. And like I said earlier, I wanted the first one to be Imayoh Ritual, but it is taking some time. And rolling Mobius's buffs aren't as easy as people would think. So I'm gonna take a while to get the Imayoh Ritual 140 difficulty up, but it's there. I've cleared 120, so I'm just gonna have it put a little bit more effort in. And yeah, we're still going to go as ham as we can. As you can see, Alicia does have certain periods of times where she does take more damage. I'm not too sure if that's a mechanic of hers or if that's me doing like my rotation of my buffs on Flamescion. But it does appear like she's going to go down on this run, I guess. Oh, I mean, I'm just gonna repeat that one more time, that you don't have to defeat Alicia. You can go in, you can let her take you out, or you can just quit after you've done Husk, and you'll still be able to get the rewards, which are the crystals and the emblem, after you're done with Husk. Alicia, though, you know, it's kind of fun to see if your Signet build could bring you as far as taking down Alicia. I know I seem to be doing a lot of damage to her, but trust me, when she goes crazy, she can take you down very quickly. Even for Flamescion with a full shield. So you want to be kind of careful. Don't be too cocky when fighting her. Will this ulti get her? Yeah, 7.1 million. Nice. Alright. So that is the run for the Elysian Realm Hesha of Flamescion's 140 difficulty. I have not tried 150 yet, but I'll try it soon. So I know not everyone can have a fully equipped Hesha of Flamescion, but she is still a really solid pick because most of her good alternative stigma are farmable. Actually, all of them are farmable. So she can easily push to at least 100 difficulty, and if you can go that extra to 130, that will be good because that's all the crystal rewards. For the emblem, you want to try to get milestone Flame Chaser emblems so you can use them to increase your damage and HP in the Elysian Realm. So I hope this has been useful in some way at least to some of you out there, and I will be trying to do other battle suits or even like 150 difficulty videos instead. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. This has been MG, and I will see you guys soon. Bye bye.